Oh, that wasn't very good. Yeah. Have you done sound tests?
Yeah, you're good to go. The video's on, so.
All right, do it. All right.
Anytime you're ready.
All right.
I think it's now.
Now?
Yep.
Right now?
Right now.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Tangent Podcast, episode 130 for the week of September 4th, 2017, Labor Day.
Yeah.
It's Labor Day.
No one's doing labor.
Good.
Doing some
Yeah, it is
labor.
Labor Day when this comes out.
I am your host, Brian Thomas, alongside my lovable co-host over here, Justin Kane,
Hello?
the Beacon of Light, Anthony Salvatore.
What's going on?
And we are down one guy, but that's not going to detract from the excellence that is this podcast.
Yeah,
Right,
so-
Steve?
That's
High standard to me.
That's
Yeah.
excellent. It
But,
set the bar high.
Last,
We crush it.
yeah, I mean, we talk about video games on this podcast, where we talk about the games that we've been playing during this week during a little segment we like to call Under Your Thumb.
So, yep, that's what we call it.
Yeah, and then we take a quick break and come right back with the
Drinking
drunken
all
news.
day.
But it might be the drunken under your thumb. I've been day drinking. I've been doing some day drinking.
Yeah. This is going to be a weird
He's in
one.
my camp now.
Yeah, he's glossy
All
eyes.
right, that-
Brian.
My
I like
arena.
that you came up
I'll show you
you're
how that's
upfront
done.
about it.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Try to hide it like Steve off camera back there?
They can't
wasn't-
smell your
he
breath
didn't
from the microphone.
Deny it. He just didn't really understand the grasp of my questions at first.
That's why we did it off air.
He was like, what'd you say? Yeah, I've been drinking.
Anyways, we're gonna get into Under Your Thumb, and I believe Anthony went last week, so you get to choose who goes first this week.
All right, drunkie.
Is that me?
That's you.
That's you.
Well, I mean, it could be talking to Steve.
I could
Hey.
be.
It could.
But
But
it's
all
you.
right, so I continued on playing with Uncharted: The Last Legacy, the Lost Legacy, not the Last Legacy.
It's going to be rough
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one for me. I apologize.
We're here for you, buddy.
So, The
Whatever
Lost
you need,
Legacy, you are playing as Chloe Fraser from Uncharted 2 and 3, and you have Nadine Ross from Uncharted 4. And it is kind of like this buddy-buddy...
The gruesome twosome.
The gruesome twosome, if you will. It's a buddy-buddy Uncharted game. You don't really have the same dynamic that you would have with, like, Nate and Sully or Nate and Elena, because with those relationships that you have in Uncharted 1 through 4, really, it's like Nate...
Real friendships. This one's more of like business partnerships.
Yeah, exactly. So with like Nate and Sully, you kind of have this dynamic of father-son. Like he's taught him the ropes, and now the son has kind of taken up that torch, that mantle, if you will. And Sully's just kind of along for the ride. But with like Nate and Elena, there's always flirting, trouble with the relationship, things like that. So there's always these kind of side things going on.
That are more interesting.
That are more interesting than what's happening with Chloe and Nadine. Chloe and Nadine, the story there is, Chloe has this job that she wants to find the tusk.
She's a treasure hunter too.
Yeah,
Right.
she's a treasure hunter or a thief, if you will.
Aren't all treasure hunters?
I guess so. But she's looking for the tusk of Ganesh, which is, if you know any sort of Hindu mythology, it's the tusk that gets cut off of Ganesh by his father. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm following right now. There's a lot.
Don't quote him on that.
Don't quote me
please.
on that, please. I mean, I can't get the fucking intro to the tangent right, so something's wrong. But so
Hey,
Nadine's along
feels
for the
so right.
ride because she's kind of the muscle in the scenario. But the dynamic that they have between each other is, they have their ups, and then something happens. They get pissed at each other, and they,
Save each other's lives.
yeah.
How often are you switching between them?
You are only in control of Chloe
Only to Chloe.
You are-
so far the whole time.
the whole time. You are not switching over to Nadine.
All right. So I'm back.
a good
I was
thing?
just wondering. I was
So-
wondering. I was hoping for the switch. I'm a little
No, there's no switch.
disappointed.
There's no switch. There, all the weapons, the techniques, everything that you remember from Uncharted 4 is back in this game. For a while at the beginning, it's kind of more slower pace, kind of right behind your shoulder, almost walking sim-esque, similar to like The Last of Us slow points when you're exploring in The Last of Us. So I thought that they were going to try and do something different with this. But after the first hour or two, you kind of get into, okay, we're driving around this main
So
hub.
it's just combat everywhere at that point.
It's not everywhere. It's weird because in Uncharted 4, there's that big deserty area that you're in the Jeep
in like
and you're
Africa or
yeah.
something. And
In
with all
this-
the mud scenarios.
Yeah, and it's a very similar place, but it's the main hub. So like it's almost Zelda-esque in a way, where it's like this is the main hub. okay, over here is kind of like
Or
a
Lara
fortress.
Croft kind of did that in a way.
Yeah, but you return to the main hub and you go to different sections. So think of it as like a Hyrule field, if you will, and then you go off and you do your, the
Yeah.
main
That's
dungeon.
definitely super weird for that series where it's just chapter.
It doesn't feel weird when it does it in a good way, which I thought was going to be slightly strange, but it's fine. And I think I'm coming towards the end. This is actually a lot shorter than a normal Uncharted game, which I wasn't aware of. I thought it was still like a 20 chapter campaign, but I think it's only 9, and I'm on like 8, so I'm
How
pretty
much to pay
close.
for it?
$40. So
Interesting.
it is one of those things where it's like I paid $40 for it, and it's this short. I would say it's definitely under 10 hours. This short, bite-sized Uncharted game that is different and unique with the 2 characters. I think that the writing is fucking amazing. I think that the way that they're telling the story of Chloe and Nadine at the same time, just through conversations and them understanding each other, does a really great job of just character development, like something that you don't see in other video games. And then I just kind of felt like this was kind of a dumbed down version of Uncharted 4, just like a smaller size. But it surprises me with the writing. It like how much thought and detail went into these characters, where I just thought that they were side characters. Now they're the main characters, and
Feels good.
It does. It really does. It threw me for a loop with a lot of the writing and a lot of the acting as well, because they do the whole, the motion capture, the whole 9 yards, and like there's lots of just body language in this, which is in Uncharted, but like not to this extent. So
Right.
I think that they're really pushing the storytelling on this, not so much reinventing the wheel of like what Uncharted 4 did to 3, like pushing the graphics,
Yeah, it was like
Next level
gameplay,
shit.
all that other stuff. What they're really focusing on is the story, and it's great. I mean, the bad guy is dumb. Like you've only seen him once or twice, and it's whatever. But
you just need more Sully though. It's the only thing that
who doesn't
like,
need
the
more
team of
Sully?
Drake.
Where's
stuff.
Sully's game?
Yeah,
Just
that-
the young Sullivan. Like, where is he at?
Hey, you
His
never know.
Fresh mustache, Burt Reynolds style, just
what we need.
with the ladies smoking stogies and like
That's just-
shooting
that's
guys
the
with a
game
revolver.
itself.
I need that game. I'd play 40 chapters of that.
Just that.
Yeah.
Slowly picking up chicks.
Just people walking by, Sully sitting in a chair with a stogie and a revolver, just shooting people.
No, I agree. I mean, they do mention the Drake brothers. They mention Victor Sullivan.
They're probably
they
getting
mention
all the tie-ins.
They hit all the tie-ins. They talk about past relationships, kind of how everyone
Shit
knows
that was
each
going
other.
on during the games.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
it's funny because so a running joke in Uncharted is Marco Polo, and so I happen to just be playing as Chloe. And if you have never played another Uncharted game and this was your first Uncharted, for whatever reason, I saw this. It was like a dam that had a just this little sectioned off area, and I jumped into it, and the water pushed me forward, and Nadine was like, "Hey, what are you doing? We don't have time for Marco Polo." And Chloe just kind of like chuckled to herself, and Nadine's like, "What? What's so funny?" And Chloe's like, "Nothing. Don't worry about it." And for those of you that haven't played it, you would just go like, "Oh, whatever, that's nothing." But a trophy pops up, and for someone who's played Uncharted 2, it's kind of like a throwback to Uncharted 2. And then
Her
Uncharted,
and Nate played Marco Polo together.
yeah. And there's
In the
little
pool.
little things like that are really smart and really just kind of like
They're good tie-ins, good Easter eggs. They leave in some good stuff for you.
Yeah, there's lots of like little things like that too. I just had another one that I lost, but it is something that
Good job, Justin.
Hey, I'm sorry. Well, I had my own thoughts too. Sometimes you got to share them.
That is true.
that is true.
Got to get them off your chest.
Yeah, you got to just put it all out there.
But I'm really having a blast with it. If you're an Uncharted fan, like it's the $40, it's whatever. Like if you should
guy.
buy this game.
You don't need to buy.
4, no.
Okay.
This is a standalone. I
Standalone.
have a disc, standalone DLC, single player expansion, whatever you will call it. But I do think that there are cheats though, so there could be a fat Chloe, and a fat Nadine.
I think they
or
lost those
Donut.
a long time ago, and they're not.
Oh
bringing them
yeah, they
back.
got rid of
Oh.
Donut on 4. Yeah.
Yeah, because Mom's against humanity. Or,
Not down with the thickness.
not down with the thing with this guy. Stop it.
There's some
Jeez.
people like
Wow,
him.
write that down.
Down with the
There it
thickness,
is.
huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Possible titles coming at you next week already.
But I'm gonna move on from Uncharted. I'm gonna probably finish it this week, and I don't know if I'll finish my next game because it's surprising me how long the first world is. Is Mario plus Rabbids equals Kingdom Battle? There's no equals in there. It's just Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. For those of you that don't know, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is Mario with those stupid fucking Rabbids from Rayman.
So bad.
Mashed
So bad.
together in a strategy game similar to XCOM or
bad.
Final Fantasy Tactics. And I can't tell you how fucking good this game actually is. I am not a huge strategy guy. So with this, I'm a very casual
Put 100-something hours in the tactics.
Yeah, that was like 12 years ago.
Yeah, and that was
Crush it
like
up.
a legendary game at this point.
So
I beg to differ, but
Well,
I played-
People seem to like it, Steve. a lot of
a lot of
people.
people don't like other games.
True.
Like Night Trap.
Yeah.
But I don't think
But-
it's surprising that that's one of the games that he put a lot of time in the genre.
Yeah.
If that's one that's going to pull you to it.
So the thing that
7.
and for strategy games, I'm not a huge XCOM guy only because I don't really do the whole sci-fi alien thing. That's not really my scene. That's more Gary's. But what I do really enjoy is like the fantasy setting. So Final Fantasy Tactics was always a huge
Fire
draw
Emblem.
for me. Fire Emblem. I don't like the.
Advanced Wars.
I do like Advance Wars as well. But anyways, we're kind of getting off topic here. That's what we do here on the tangent. But-
Say.
So
Get it?
the way that they introduce it is, I guess, just a time portal or whatever. So it just mixes the two characters together, and it's just like, this is what it is. Go for it.
Suck it.
Yep.
Basically, thanks
Yeah, you stuck
Nintendo.
with it.
So yeah,
The Rabbids.
it's
fucked
actually
it
an
up.
Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
It's an Ubisoft game.
Not surprised.
By either, by
But
either one
this
of them.
is-
I already hate it.
But this is exactly what Nintendo needs to start doing: is letting third-party developers, instead of trying to make a brand new game or like force their like existing game onto the Switch, let them use the IPs, give them a little bit, access to like games that you really haven't been putting a lot of like effort into, like a Punch Out or something else, or like just use these characters.
Punch Out would work,
in
Star
new
Fox.
ways. Yeah, just using these characters in new ways is really refreshing. So with this game, it looks exactly like a Mario game should. It sounds exactly like a Mario game should. There's just these weird fucking rabbits in it. And to be honest with you, they're more of the enemy at this point.
Yeah. So what's the setup here? How are you walking around? What are you
Luigi.
what are we
Okay,
looking
so
at?
when
Paint us
you
a
s-
picture, bro.
When you're starting off, you don't immediately jump into the gameplay. So there is this overworld type of thing where there's a central hub. You're at Princess Peach's castle, and the good Rabbids are like building these little things. So like you can upgrade your weapons, you can get new weapons, upgrade your characters. So like skill tree wise, so there's always these little RPG elements as well. And so you're running around with this little, basically a Roomba, those little vacuums that like move around and
circular
You can ride 'em.
robots.
yeah. So that thing is kind of like
You put cats on.
your
them.
Navi, if you will. It's the one that like just
Are
tells
you
what's-
controlling it?
Yeah, so you're controlling it, and your characters are trailing behind it.
Is it like, are you on like a grid?
So that's the battle mechanics. I'm just talking like
The
Just
overworld.
free-
the overworld. So
free
right now
roam.
it's like
you're
free
just
roam.
running
So
around as Mario.
the way that it works is that
It should
the
be.
characters are trailing behind you, and then you're going through. It's very simple puzzles. So you go through and you're just kind of like, you click this button, it opens up, it removes the red blocks, and then you can get past the red blocks, hit the, green button or whatever. And they're very basic, very childlike puzzles. But that in-between time between the battles is, it's like a fresh pace or a fresh change of pace, and it just kind of introduces you and fully fleshes out like what these characters are doing. It's not just like, oh hey, here's your next battle, or oh hey, here's the next mission. It's like, no, your objective is you're running through world 1-1 or chapter 1, and it's like you're this one pretty linear path, but along the way it's like the normal flagpoles that you'll see, and then they have like skull rabbids, and it's like, all right, and once you pass this point, you're going into a battle. And when you get into a battle, it is a grid-based battle mechanic or battle system, very similar to XCOM, but dumbed down a little bit for the casual fan. I would say this isn't
An
like,
introduction kind of into, I guess.
no,
that
it's
genre.
the whole game is like that. It's not. It's the introduction is great and it teaches you the basics, but Mario is each character has you can only move a certain amount of distance. This is their damage. They have a special ability, and what's really cool is you can use each other to continue your movement. So, for example, if Justin is 7 squares ahead of me, and I'm hiding
Naturally.
behind cover, right? If I'm hiding
get
behind
kills
cover
first.
and I can't shoot a rabbit that's 15 diagonal from me, and I can't reach him because I just won, he's behind cover as well. I can go the 7 in front of me, and Justin can bounce like I can jump on Justin's head, or Justin puts his feet up in the air and kicks me up, and then I can jump another 7 or 8 squares to get the angle that I need to attack that one rabbit.
So some like teamwork.
So there's lots of
Mario.
teamwork going on. There's always only 3 characters that you can control on the battlefield at the same time. So far, I've unlocked the 4th character.
We all know the 3. I mean,
Well, as of right now, I'm rocking 1 rabbit and 2 characters from Mushroom Kingdom. So only because
Those
I only
fucking
have
rabbits.
I have 2 and 2. But each character does something different. So like Mario's special ability is he at this point he has 2. So one, it just charges himself up and it attacks like his special attack, or his attack goes higher for 3 turns, or he can do it in an area group and everyone goes up but not as high. Peach, or Rabbid Peach, I should say. She has like a shield bubble and a healer, so she's kind of the medic class. And then the Rabid Luigi is more of a defensive class. So he has,
He hides in a corner.
No, he doesn't hide in the corner, but he has
whoa.
like shields and.
Rabid Luigi, I can't even imagine.
But I did unlock.
on the
I
offensive.
unlocked another
Just rabbit.
character, which I won't spoil, even though it is only a couple hours in. But this character is a sniper class. And this
Luigi.
character hides back, has low health, but hides back, and he can just fucking.
It's probably Toad.
it's Luigi.
And he's just crushing it. So
So your Luigi's coming in hot.
I do like, and I didn't realize that each character has a primary and a secondary weapon, and I just found this out recently. But like Mario has a hammer that he'll grab, and he can attack multiple enemies close range. But then, for example, this sniper class has kind of like a scout machine that will go, and while you're taking turns, it'll find enemies and either explode if there's a bunch of them, or like shoot them if he's
Little
in
drone
range.
action?
Yeah.
Like
So
an
I thought
actual
that was
sniper, yeah.
I thought that adds a little bit to it. I just
you
lost my first battle though, so I might have to
Loser.
I might have to go back and rethink my strategy.
Does Mario die?
You are really pathetic. Well, that's actually not too bad.
Yeah.
How many hours? You only lost 1?
I'd say 5 hours or so. I've played about 5 hours of this game, and it's strange too because I really didn't think that the worlds. So right now I'm on like chapter 8 or the chapter 9 of the first world, and I wasn't really expecting it to be that long each world, so that kind of threw me for a loop. So it's going to be upwards to 20 hours of the game, and like all I want to do is play that. So right now I'm juggling Uncharted and Mario Rabbids. So I
But you have
really
the desire to play it. Like when you're at work, you're thinking about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's how you
Yeah,
know
that-
the game is sick. Is when
So
you're just like
when
you're
I'm
not
at-
playing it, you're
yeah.
like, fuck, I want
when
to
I'm
play
at
it.
when I'm
You, I
not
do.
playing it, I'm
Yeah, then you
thinking
just
about Rabbids,
Don't sleep.
which is just terrible. I'm thinking about shooting Rabbids, not actual
Yeah,
Rabbids.
I'm thinking about it too, and I haven't even played the game.
But yeah, I
Switch.
really can't recommend this game. And if you have a Switch and you're not getting this game, you're fucking up. because in all honesty,
I'm
And
sold.
don't let the rabbits turn you off.
I think that this is the second best game on the Switch.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a bold
Because
thing.
Mario Kart's on the Switch.
I think that this game it goes Zelda, Mario, Rabbids, and then I haven't played Splatoon 2, but I played Splatoon 1 and I know what it is.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And Mario Kart is underneath this.
What? That's craziness.
I think
I
How
gotta
good the
see
game
this.
is.
Yeah,
it's
we gotta
really
see some.
it
got it on you?
really has me hooked. Yeah, we can play during
you
the
gotta
break.
show me what a game better
You
than
can
Mario
have you
Kart.
can have your own file. You can fuck around in your own
I know,
file.
eight's
3
pretty good.
files in
Eight's
this.
pretty good.
In this one little cart. One little cart.
Well, hey, that's seems traditional in Mario's RPG history.
It is.
But
very,
it is a lot of fun. I'm a very casual
More fun
strategy.
than Mario Kart, apparently.
I mean, come on, let's be honest. Mario Kart is a fucking Wii U game. It's not a Switch game. It's
but
just
you
the port.
didn't. You said this is
No,
the second
I
best game
still-
on the
I
Switch. I was
still-
like, wow, that was bold.
I
Well,
still
he's calling you on it.
I still stand by that.
I mean, it's opinion. Opinion can't be wrong.
But I'm having a blast with it, and like all I'm doing is thinking about it. So I really can't recommend it enough.
Sorry to you.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with a
She's
rabbit
not
joke,
thinking
but I was
about me.
laughing. I couldn't even say it.
But I really, it's great. It really is.
You're blushing.
Sure. I mean, for the casual strategy guy, like gamer, it's perfect. I would say if you're like balls deep in XCOM half the time, this maybe is a pass for you. Because
Could be too
you're
too much of a
gonna be like,
downgrade.
oh, well, it doesn't have this feature, or oh, you can't fucking manage your ammunition. It's like, I'm having so much.
got
fun
infinite
with
ammo?
this. Yeah,
See, that's what you need.
yeah. You have infinite ammo. Your thing respawns after 3 turns.
So is this like a child's first
Yeah, it's Introduction.
I would
tactic
say-
game? Because that would be right up my alley.
I'm
Can you
telling you,
put
Steve,
different difficulties?
Can you play
Yeah.
Codename Steve?
So each level, each time you get into a battle, it's it shows you the area, and then there's like this thing called Tactic Cam where you can just scout the area and see the battlefield before you go into the fight.
Sounds like it should be
But
there.
but right before, like right when this game starts or right when the battle starts, it's like in the bottom left corner, it's like easy mode, and it's like a rabbit holding a heart balloon, and you just hit the button and it turns into easy mode if you can't get past the a battle, which is great.
yeah.
But along the same line, Steve, like it is
what I
very
need.
much like child's first XCOM game, and I'm not looking for a game that's gonna fucking like rack my brain and try and do that. But this is perfect for it. This is absolutely perfect. I'd give it the go ahead with the green light.
See that green back there? It's a go.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm gonna move on, and I'm going to pass it on over to Justin.
Oh, shucks, man. You shouldn't have. Thanks. This week was a slow week for me, but I picked up a game that I had played at PAX East over this year, and the game is called Mages of Mystralia.
Mysteria.
Mystralia?
Mystralia?
Mystralia? Mages of Mystralia, I think.
Nailed it.
Yeah, whatever. We'll go with that.
Anal bifida, spina bifida.
It's one of the
Mages of
bifidas.
M.
It's one of the bifidas.
So you guys remember this game?
I
no.
vaguely don't remember.
So I think I was
this
the only
game.
person with you when you played it.
Yeah,
Right.
You were literally trying to explain this to us. I'm gonna like pull it up on my
Yeah.
phone, but you keep
So I'll
talking.
have a better definition of it now, I hope. So the game is a action game, action puzzle game, and you play as a female character, and the story is kind of typical. It's definitely low budget, a super small group. This was one of the indie games.
Because it's also a Kickstarter game.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was Kickstarter. Well, oh, interesting. I didn't know that. But you play as this female character, and the map is very set up. To me, it reminds me of Fable, where if you hit start and you go to the map, it's all, everything is pretty hand drawn, except for when you're in action. It's kind of like a 3D. I don't know what style that would be.
Yeah, you're just looking at like a cell shaded esque isometric.
Like stories, kind of.
Think of
Yeah.
it like a Diablo a little bit.
Yeah, so that's just like the world, but everything else about it is hand drawn, like the load screens and the cutscenes.
Kind of very similar to Pyre in a way, where it's like the cutscenes, it's like an image and it's hand drawn, but then when you get into the gameplay, it is that isometric Diablo esque looking thing.
Yeah, so they
I
gave you
gotcha.
this, which you can tell that doesn't look the best. You know, you can tell it's a small group of people, but the way that they did
tried.
it, they still made it look good
Well, the
for what
thing-
it is. Like, I'd lie to you if I told you it looks excellent.
It looks-
but to me, it looks good.
Yeah,
the
it
way that
works.
these guys drew it up and in the colors and everything.
If you could think
Still
of
cleaned
up. You know.
how to Train Your Dragon, if some indie development movie studio
game.
did How to Train Your Dragon, that's what it looks like, right? Like that's what kind of like the characters
Old
look like.
RPG type.
Yeah, you're
So it's
looking at
not
like an
bad.
early 2000 or early PS3.
Secret of Mana.
So the map is set up very similar to, like I said, Fable, where when you go to the map, it's all hand drawn and there's different lines and circles. And it's like from this part of the world you're in this circle, there's different routes that you can take to get to this town or that. So remember in Fable, that's kind of how it was.
Yeah.
the graveyard. And
And it's, you know, you have an open area, but there's really only certain amount of paths that you can go when you're leaving this open. So you jump from open area to open area to open area, similar to Fable, like I said. And you're doing a lot of puzzles,
Okay.
which is something that I liked. There's a lot of puzzles. The first power you get, X, is lightning, which is a strike with some sort of lightning rod or something. Y is fireball, and B is ice. So, and I think right trigger is shield. So from there, those are the first powers they give you, and the fireball literally just stands in front of you. When you cast it, the ice just one block at your feet. And so you're getting some pretty early puzzles in that, like, okay, light this fire and this fire and the door opens, or use
Yeah.
the ice to walk across to get over here.
Anything that's stumping you right now.
No, there's things that I've walked past that I can't get, and I know I can't.
They have that, and I should have mentioned that, but they had that in Rabbids too, where it's like I know how I have to do this, but
So
I
I've
can't.
seen some puzzles that I know how to do it, but I'm realizing like I'm going to need a power
upgrade
to do that.
Yep.
because it gives you it's the skill tree as well
Yeah.
too.
So
Anthony's been watching.
yeah, and he was there
talks to the
next to me
guy,
when I
yeah.
played it. And so one of the cool things they have, a lot of their puzzles, just like the pictures that you saw, are weird, like hexagon. I'm not sure which shape they are, but there's different lines and angles for the puzzles, like to light up the lines, align the pieces so that all the lines light up. And it's almost like constellations, if you will, the way it looks. So that's a lot of puzzles that you come across, and that's also kind of how they do the skill tree. For example, the first skill that I learned was like move. So I can go into my fireball, my ice, my other abilities, and it has a little like constellation, basically. And I can plug this in. If I take the upgrade move, it'll have a certain directions it can go. So you got to plug it into the constellation looking thing so that the lines match so it can get power.
Okay.
Kind of like level 1, level 2, and like level 3 with certain moveset.
So I'm
within,
guessing
like,
once I get a bunch of these, that's where it's going to also kind of be a puzzle within itself to activate them all that I want them to do. So the first one is move. So now, if I attach it to the fireball, I shoot the fireball instead of just cast it in front of me.
Oh,
so
I
that
see.
in itself could open up another puzzle. And then with the ice, I attach move to it. It doesn't seem that it matters which direction I go as long as it's activated.
Okay.
So the ice shoots out a bunch in a row. So now I can make a bridge just in one shot.
Gotcha.
And then my shield turned into a dash, which was interesting.
Because that's what happens with shields.
Yeah, and so I haven't made it super far because I'm just kind of dicking around, exploring, talking to everybody, still figuring out. The combat mechanics aren't the best. I'm running into situations where I'm being attacked and some of the bad guys are throwing spears. And for me to attack, you can't be moving.
Oh, okay. I see.
So there's like some situations like that where you're just like, you got to take the hit and it's kind of frustrating, but it's almost, I guess we could just call it part of the strategy at this point.
Was it
of,
the-
like you're
can-
going to take hits in some scenarios. I only have one move right now, which is move or push, whatever I got. So maybe if I later on it's not going to be an issue, I'm going to have something way cooler.
You can only use magic to kill enemies, right? I can't remember.
No, I can beat him with the stick, but technically it is magic. It's my melee attack is technically the lightning. I couldn't use
so-
put move on it at all. It wouldn't let me move it. It was just a swing attack.
How much did you spend on this?
This was actually $20.
Okay.
So this is quite a bit. If I wasn't into the game and wanted, like the direction these guys were going in, yeah, I might not pay $20 for
Be
this.
a
like-
hard pass.
But I like the puzzles with I know that when we were on the floor, I've only gotten the one move, but I know when we were on the floor, there was different combinations of like you could get left.
He left. Yeah, he was a little
Like one of the
further.
powers could be left, and just when you shoot it, the power goes out and left. So now you're shooting fireballs around corners, and shit's getting
okay.
like real crazy. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to beat it. I remember what he had on the game
Impacts.
floor was
Yeah.
tough, but he also had a bunch of abilities, so this would probably be very far in the game. So I would be much more inclined to understand it at that point.
Yep. Fair enough.
So I'm pretty interested. I think it's not pretty to look at if you're looking for the next cool game, but I think that the puzzles are going to be interesting enough. So I'm curious to see what happens as I move forward.
Okay.
But yeah, that was about it. I couldn't even tell you, probably like 5%.
So there's a lot of puzzles within it then.
Yeah, I played a couple hours, and I'm in the first, circular area, like first open map, trying to get my way to, they're telling me you got to go this way. So I'm still trying to figure out how to get over there. And I'm pretty far along. So there's a lot of different, even puzzles just to get through the pathways. Oh, you're walking down the path. You need to put a stone puzzle over here. So the stones come down. Now you have a staircase.
Okay.
So they're like everywhere. It's not
Okay.
just like
It's
go
not just
through.
like-
There's a puzzle. Go through. There's a puzzle. It's like going through is a puzzle in itself.
Yep.
So you're eventually, I'm sure I'm going to be messing with my powers just to get to boss fights or other areas or stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty cool. I would say,
It
$20
sounds-
is kind of steep for a game you're taking a gamble on. But I think if you watch some videos to see the puzzles, that it's pretty interesting. It's a good, for me, I think it's going to be a good puzzle,
Also
light action.
Back to the name, it's actually Mages of Mystralia.
Mystralia. Mages of Mystralia.
Yeah, we said that, didn't we?
I don't know. I think we
Mystralia?
threw a couple of them out there. Sally, Slippy, Swanson.
Samson.
We got it.
Man, I was way off.
So yeah, I also I played some. I got this really mean urge to play Red Dead Redemption.
Thinking about cowboy butts, huh?
Because someone tweeted
They
it
drive
this
me
week.
nuts. No, you know what I found? The undead. My little sister has a Xbox 360 in one of the common rooms, and I saw the zombie DLC sitting there.
And you were like, yep.
So I put it in, and I played the zombie. I'd never played it
Undead
really.
Nightmare.
Yeah, because there was some things that
Well, it was like
The
you don't
zombies
have
were-
you have
a
very
couple of story
limited
missions I
ammo.
didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Well, I found I got a shitload of ammo, so I think I just might have been timid back then. But I was crushing through it, and it was so good. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. And then I'm just like, restart. I have no save file on the Xbox One. I have all my achievements, of course, but
Yeah.
no save file. So I started a new game. I have all the DLCs. So I start off with the Warhorse. So that makes the game incredibly easier from the very beginning. It's like the fastest horse and the strongest horse in the game.
Yep.
I have a couple of outfits. Like I already have the elegant suit to get me into once I reach like the high end poker game.
Yep.
So yeah, that was it. I'm so excited for the new game to come out. It feels so good. You remember that the challenges like kill 5 rabbits, hunting challenge number 1.
Yeah. Oh,
Next
yeah.
one's like kills. I kind of forgot about all those like collect the flowers.
I got literally. I think I got.
I got
100.
100%.
I think
Me too.
I think I did 1,000 out of 1,000.
Remember
in
all
that
the
shit.
different like if you get certain hunting things done, you hunt like legendary.
Yeah, you hunt
like
Bigfoot.
yeah,
and like
you
the
can
like
hunt
the
the-
white bobcat
and the
yeah.
cheetah looking one. And I forgot how
where you get now.
absolutely fucking that game is much better than all of the other Rockstar
Grand
games.
Theft- yeah,
like, it's
that
way
is-
better than.
leaps and bounds. I think better than any Grand Theft Auto game. I mean, it's
Damn. Really?
I
5?
would say yeah.
so.
Playing
Shit.
this,
So 2's got the.
it has like it's an RPG. It's a real
yeah.
one.
It's one of those things where Rockstar did, like they're known for Grand Theft Auto and they're known for open world games. But then they took like this fucking weird right turn with Rockstar Ping Pong, and then they really haven't
Which was a sick
Lord,
game,
yeah.
dude.
I was gonna.
That
I
was
mean,
I
and
forgot
then
about that.
What else do you have? You have Max Payne, which is just another shooter with a different mechanic. But like Red Dead Redemption had these not weird, but like different to Rockstar RPG elements. You had like
Most of their
all
things
of
were
the
almost
things-
too user friendly. You know, it was like Grand Theft Auto was very legitimately snap and click, like shooting.
Yep.
It's like, hey, look at that, shoot it. Hey, look at that, shoot it. This had other stuff of like, hey, go out here and find this.
Yep.
And collect this.
It was very
And
much
the
exploration,
open
like
world.
enjoying
The open
world.
world of this game is the most alive that they've ever made. You know, the different people going out about, the animals hunting each other, the animals
yeah.
hunting the other humans.
Oh yeah, if you're just out at night, coyotes killing other
Just random
humans,
shit
you're
going
like,
Yeah,
well,
like people just kidnapping each other, putting them on horseback and just riding.
not
off
to
and,
mention
like,
any game that allows you to hog tie somebody and put them on train tracks.
classic.
A+.
So yeah, I guess we should just end there because we can keep on going forever. But I'm
yeah.
really excited. Cannot fucking wait for the new one to come out.
Left turn is what you say if it's something weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not right.
I pointed right
Oh,
there.
you
That was
pointed
my,
Well,
right.
you're
Okay,
right.
okay.
They're left.
Well, that is. Yeah, that's true.
yeah. Anyways, but
Stumped.
Anthony, you're
All right.
next.
So to finish what I started from last week, Hellblade.
Have you finished this yet?
I did finish it.
Okay.
How many hours?
How many hours?
Would you say?
Probably about 10.
Okay.
About 10-hour game. Big on the cinematics at the end, or more heavy on the story. Loses some of the horror aspects of it later. Or I could just say you kind of get more used to the horror aspects of
You
it.
can see it coming.
Yeah, it's kind of repetitive. Like
Predictable.
the voices become normal, like any
Yeah.
kind of person.
I mean,
You ignore them because
sometimes predictable stuff makes it not scary.
because you
When
already
go into like the scary house, you know, oh shit, you're gonna be scared. So you don't actually have fear when you're walking through it. It might be sketchy, but
Yeah.
it's not like you don't like the other
Expect
horror
it.
games where it's just completely out of nowhere.
it's like we said when you fail. Like even for what was the other one? Outlast. Like when you fail something a number of times, like after a while, you kind of like you're not afraid of it anymore.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just so I tell you to go die first, see what happens, then come back, and you're all set.
You know where they're hiding.
Correct.
Gotcha.
That's secretly why I do it because I'm scared. You know,
Okay.
Thanks.
I don't want to lose, so I instantly just jump off
jump.
right away. Just so you
You-
get that out of the way.
You get them before they
before
get you.
they get you every time, even a cliff. I'm just like, hey, jump off that
Is that
cliff.
from Mario? For you? Is that platformers? Just like
That's
before this
That's
platform-
exclusively
It's
platformer.
a
Well,
good platforming tip.
Every once in a while, you land down at the bottom and it glitches out, and you're like, "Hey, look at me!
I
Just
won
skip
that
the whole
battle."
shit." Yeah, yeah, you're welcome.
It's a victory. Pro tip, by the way.
Yeah, yep.
But it was a lot heavier on the puzzles as it got like a little bit later on. Some of them are actually like extremely well done. Obviously, with the horror aspects and then like the puzzles, it definitely added like that extra sense of like getting like.
Urgency.
Remember in like Ocarina of Time where that I had kind of ruined it, but the shadow monsters at the top.
Oh yeah, the hands.
So like there's a part in the hands. So there's a part in the game where like this is called the nightmare, and it's always following you around, and you have to stay within like the light. So
Oh.
So it brings that sketchy.
like so you like in
Tense
certain
moments.
aspects it'll give you like torches and like you have to kind of find ways to either make your own light or get into the light before like it corrupts you.
Okay.
Nobody likes that.
No. Like I said before last week, the other one was like puzzles to the door that created like symbols that you have to shape within the level.
Okay. So the whole, I guess, you're hearing voices in your head type of thing.
Yeah.
How you're not playing this with headphones, you're just playing it
Normally, yeah.
normally. Do you find that this, so your character hears these voices,
Yes.
and so your character understands that these are voices in her head, and she knows that they're not her actual thoughts, that it's something trying to. Is there some sort of development with the character where, like, these voices kind of. You don't have to overtake. You don't have to really like spoil what happened, but like, is there development with that, or is that just kind of like, oh, this was a cool gimmick, or do they incorporate it more into the story?
It's more thought out throughout the end of the
Okay.
game.
It's a good question.
She like
It's a good question, Brian.
It's a beautiful looking question.
Yeah, that looked really nice coming off the tongue.
1 point for you.
Yeah.
Phrasing?
But the development of that into the game is very well done. Like I said, there's a part in the game where it stops it completely, and then like kind of picks up again because of a certain like turning point within it. I said like last week for story wise, like the skull she was kind of carrying gives more of like a sense of who died and why this is kind of happening to her.
Okay.
But it's a lot of it's actually based off Norse mythology, Norse and Greek mythology.
Yeah.
So
Could bore you all day with facts about that.
yeah, it's a lot like Game of Thrones. I'm trying to stay awake, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get me started.
no, but
These
obviously,
two losers don't like Game of Thrones.
there's three of us. Yeah,
3 of us.
These three losers don't like Game of Thrones.
I'm not gonna let you throne shame me.
I'm not throne shaming anybody.
Yeah, I think you are. Hashtag throne
who's
shame.
really got the Game of Thrones right?
Yeah. Grow up, Brian.
But it adds into like legends of so her sword breaks midway through.
Spoilers.
Never good.
Spoilers.
So you find like a legendary sword from the mythology part of it that you have to piece back together. And while you're doing this, like this is like little lure stones that you find that explain like the story behind how the sword was crafted
Okay.
and how you're able to kind of get it.
Like what, how you could possibly mend it together and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like Odin, Loki, stuff like that, and why, like where you are kind of in the world at that point.
Interesting.
So like can't really. So at the end of it, though, like I said, without kind of spoiling it, it definitely creates this kind of say like not really horror aspect to it, but she comes to like a certain realization where like all the darkness kind of like leaves her body.
Okay.
And it makes this like impressive, I'd say, impressive ending to the game of where like it's horror, calm horror, and then like
Did you not?
Sketchy.
So let me ask you: the ending, did it take you by surprise? Like, were
complete.
you?
Yeah,
So you weren't expecting.
Would you say
the
you were
ending?
shocked?
like even looking. Yeah, I was
You were
shocked.
shocked.
I was
Even
shocked.
shocked.
Even
I was-
looking
You
back,
get quoted about that.
I mean, like, look, you read the title. What's the title of the game?
Hellblade.
But what's like Senu's sacrifice?
Okay.
of course, Blades.
Sure.
And
what,
like
what was your question?
Is the main character Senu?
Senu. which,
Okay.
But
So you think she
I have
kills
its
herself or something?
point of
happens,
origin?
yeah.
it gives you like, yeah. So you think she's gonna die, and then like it kind of gives you that, and then pulls it back, and then like kind of keeps doing that
So yeah, it's always kind of keeping you on your toes.
on your toes, where like you don't really predict the end of this game.
That's good to know. Maybe I'll play this. Maybe I'll play this for like my horror thing for October.
Yeah.
I think you'd like. There's a
Brian
few.
Shocktober.
Brian Shocktober.
Does that work for Halloween?
Shocktober.
Like shock? Is that
Yeah,
like
Shocktober.
is that Halloweeny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Did I steal that
Shocktober's a
from
thing.
Disney?
No, because Disney.
I
Doesn't
must have stolen
ABC
that from
Family?
ABC. I
ABC
must have stolen
Family,
that from
probably something
somebody.
like
No
that,
way.
yeah.
13 Days of Shocktober.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Goes Brian. We got something hot coming down the
video
pipeline.
game. You would definitely enjoy it though. It's very story driven.
Okay.
You can definitely get by the horror aspects. I think you can make it.
If I was to
Well,
play
there's-
this game, I would definitely try with headphones though.
gonna
Did
do
you
it.
say there was no combat?
There's
There's
combat.
Oh, okay.
Combat is very well done. Shockingly, the only downside to the combat is it's always from like a right angle. for
Oh
some-
yeah.
so
you said you don't
can't.
like the camera angle.
So you can't see enemies. It kind of surrounds you with enemies a lot of the times, and the voices are the ones that are telling you like, "Hey, look behind you, and then like you have to, you can't
Swing
you
around.
can't see them, but you know. But if you do hit the X button, it doesn't give you like that cheap like you got hit. Like it
Oh,
makes
okay.
the dodge for you, so you don't have to worry too much about. It's
It just makes it tough.
the
Are there like jump scares and shit?
there's a few. There's-
Okay.
Probably more for you than him, probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. I forget who I'm talking to sometimes.
right.
Stone
so-
face, yeah.
So I was like, yeah, this one part where somebody's
This
head
is
got
one-
ripped off.
yeah.
I was like,
There's a few, yeah.
What were you like? Whoa.
That is actually part, probably. There's a few
Hair blew
parts
past.
that will, yeah, nothing.
they're fucking shocked.
Glossy eyes.
Yeah.
But
sounds good though.
no,
Does sound-
it was. I was impressed with it. It's definitely a AAA title. They definitely claimed, made the claim and then stuck to it on this one. So,
nice.
Good
Ninja
work.
Theory, good job with that.
Hey, shout out to you guys.
But we'll move
Ninja Theory.
on. So this week I also got Yakuza. Can't pronounce the rest of it.
Kiwami.
Kiwami.
Okay. So this
What
is
is
like
this for? PS4.
PS4.
the Yakuza,
Yakuza.
the RPG.
But this is a continuation
fights.
of the fighting one. Of
That's
What year
Yakuza
did
0,
What
right?
year did this come out?
this
is
year.
brand new.
This is this
Because
week.
I know that sometimes don't they do the like they don't come out over here for a while and stuff
That's
like that.
also true, but that since I think
Released in North America this week.
Zero was
okay,
a success, so they actually kind of.
So is this a full game or like DLC off of?
It seems it's a story based off it. It seems like a full game. I mean, it's only $30 anyway.
Okay.
Is this PlayStation exclusive?
Yes. usually. I think
Yeah,
these,
right. They all are. Right?
PlayStation's killing it with the exclusives
Yeah.
right now.
It picks up where the story is from, like I said, 0. I did not finish 0, but you actually really don't need to kind of finish it. It just starts off with him. Actually, it kind of spoils the ending from the previous one.
So
That's usually how they do it, right?
Yeah, and
Kind
then
of
you-
wrap
you
that up.
greenlight into
Yeah,
And
that.
all of a
so,
sudden
I
you're
mean-
back into punching guys in the face and
Pretty-
karate kicking them in
Dude,
alleyways.
I mean,
That is
inside
the,
sushi
that is
shops.
the best
Yeah.
part. You nailed it. Dude, that is the best part.
That's how you
the
do it.
fucking
Like, yeah, you
karaoke
got
bar.
some- yeah,
Some
you
guys
still-
singing Free Bird, you just pound the shit.
Yeah, like, you got our money? No, for karate kick to the face.
is it still set in the 80s or is it later?
So it's a
me
few
the
years
80s.
later
Okay.
in the 80s. So
Okay, it's a few years later
But-
in the 80s.
So you started in like
We're still in good
82
shape.
and now you're in like 87.
it was actually no.
We're still in good shape.
Actually, let me I go back from that 'cause that's actually a lie.
What?
88 was when the Yakuza 0 started.
so now you're in 90.
You're 95. So
95.
He's moved up in the chain of the
Gross.
Yakuza, and then a turning point kind of within it. In the beginning of the game is that he goes to prison for 10 years. So now it's 2005.
Shit.
So it's a culture shock for him.
Oh, that's probably a very cool thing because you go from 1995 and then getting out in 2005.
So it gives you it shows you Japan 10 years later. And it's obviously the cell phones.
cell phones, handsets.
Well,
things
I'm
like
just
that.
would be more interested to see what was going on in 2005.
in Tokyo.
Yeah, just like to see the type of phone that they're using because I'm sure that they're all legit or
It's the
pretty.
Razor. It's like the Razor.
Yeah, the
phone.
Razor and
It's
stuff.
the-
Yeah,
using
with the little
razors.
Hello Kitty hanging
Yeah,
off the
to see
keychain.
what songs they're singing in the
that's
karaoke
huge.
bars.
That's actually
Hello
huge in
Kitty-
Japan.
no,
is
it's-
just the hanging off cell phone
Just
thing.
little
What are
dongles.
those called? I can't fucking think of it. They're like keychains off of phones.
Yeah, keychain dongles.
That's
They're
huge.
little phone beads or some shit.
Phone beads.
People are into it.
Yep.
People are into it.
No, it's
heavy.
huge. Yeah, they definitely in Japan. They definitely showed it in the video game because that's pretty much all it was. Razors with little keychain.
You know what's
dongles.
funny is that small is huge in Japan. Isn't that weird? Think about it. Everything small is huge in Japan.
I'm missing the joke.
It's just like
I'm
they
a
like
giant.
small things.
There's no
Small
joke.
is
He's
huge.
being.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean that's
serious.
just
It's a fun
that's
fact.
just
I'm
fun
sorry.
fact. It's just fun to say. You know,
I
whatever.
forget sometimes that he can be serious.
But you-
Whatever. You guys suck.
But same combat. It added the same styles from it before. You can pick up any item, beat the shit out of somebody with it, and it's
Yeah,
pretty
I like
much-
that trash can to
Yeah,
the
just-
face. Oh, like it's WWE going on out there.
Nice.
No, really,
2x4
it really-
off
Is it
the
all?
shin.
Hold on. Is it dub or sub?
sub.
Oh,
They're not dubbing that.
see,
They
I
were
know they
gonna
never
dub
do.
that.
Like I can't do it.
You
I
can't
always
be in
wanted
Tokyo
to,
and
but I
dub
can't.
it. It
do
doesn't work. 'Cause
I
when
mean,
they're
I know when I
screaming at you-
mash X, but even still, like when they're talking to each other, like you don't know what the people are screaming at you when you zip by on your motorcycle.
No, I
Like,
do
you want to
feel-
hear that classy stuff.
You just gotta hear it Japanese.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
You wouldn't
Put on
actually
the subs.
not like that because it is more story driven.
Yeah, of course. It's like 5 hours of just.
But I'm
like,
used to the reading the subs.
Japanese.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's crushing out that square button.
Yeah, well, it's like come on.
But I do think you. Well, you gotta also remember. So
It's
when
a
they
high budget thing. You know, this is a huge company. Made a
Karaoke's-
lot of money.
singing in
Can't
Japanese,
get a dub over
Who
here.
does Yakuza?
Sega.
So, Sega. Yeah, they're not.
Oh, they struggle, but this is like their bread and butter.
Who does Yakuza?
Just do
Sega.
it. Yeah,
Excellent.
get a dub over you donkeys.
I don't know if that would really. The funny thing is, like I said, so when they do karaoke, it's their impression of English.
Yeah.
So it's like Led Zeppelin, them singing it instead
Yeah,
of
it's like
subbing
us
it.
when we try to sing songs in Spanish. It just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense, but it's
But
sounds
funny.
Feliz Navidad.
funny
Yeah,
as
hey.
hell.
Yo espero años
Police got my car.
Only
You
Spanish
just
song I
collected
know.
that in the alleyway, and then
Despacito.
Yeah, I always wanted to get into that game.
Ladies love Despacito.
Yep. Don't even. Don't. Don't. Yeah, I always wanted to play them, but yeah, like I said, the Japanese is just brutal to me.
no, it is like I said,
It's like hearing another language. I just don't get it.
Yeah,
And the spaceship is fucking shooting off outside. We apologize for that.
Can't hear it.
You can.
yeah.
So yeah, how's that going?
that's going pretty well. For
Yeah,
me. Like I
right.
said, I enjoy it
How
personally.
far'd you get?
A few hours into that game as well.
They have a skill tree.
Yeah, you get completion points. So when you do something, then you put points into the style that you feel most comfortable with.
Fighting style.
It's beast.
You got any drunken monkey?
beast mode.
Yeah.
You fight. Actually, the funniest
Yeah.
one, like I said in the previous game, the drunken old guy teaches you how to fight that style.
Nice.
That's always the best style.
it's the drunken. Too bad it doesn't
anytime
work
you
for,
can like lay down on the ground and be fighting at the same time is just like
Winning.
the best.
It's the win in a fight.
Yep.
Got ya.
Sweet, man.
Very cool.
Sweet.
But that was it this week.
Awesome. And I think that's
It's a solid
actually
week.
going to be it for Under Your Thumb this week. We're going to take a quick break and come right back with the drunken news.